I was like, how can I just like disappear, make Seth Ferranti disappear? So there's like no Seth Ferranti, there's like no case. So I came up with this, I devised this plan. I'm like, I'm gonna fake my I mean, looking back, I mean, at the time, I thought it was like a real bright idea, but looking back, it was probably pretty stupid. So, you know, the summer of 91, usually like in the summer, it would get dry. There's no weed, right? So before I took that trip to Hawaii, you know, in the spring of 91, you know, I set shit up because I was always gearing up for the fall, because with the fall was when I could really make money. So I needed to like get my money up for the fall. So when they harvested in Northern California and Kentucky, so I could buy up a lot of bud, because you want to buy up in the harvest, you want to buy up of the bud early. Like you want to buy when the farmers are hunting, like late August, September, you know, because you can get shit for cheaper.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Then by like October, November, by January. So it's like the weed you can get for $1,600 in September, by January, that weed might be like $3,000.
Right.
You know, so that was always my thing, because, you know, I was trying to maximize my profits. So I had this bright idea in the spring of 91 when all my friends were going to be home from school, you know, because school was over. I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to fucking sell as much acid as I can this summer so I can get my money up for the fall. You know, and plus, like I say, that 9 months I was making money, but I was probably spending money recklessly, because when you got money coming in that young, you know, like water, I mean, it was just going out the door like water. I didn't give a fuck. I was just like fucking spend money on anything. I didn't give a fuck. I was dumb. I was the type of kid, and I'm sure, you know, you might have known kids like this, but I was a kid that I would buy like some expensive polo t-shirts or whatever, and I would wear that shit one time.
Right.
And I would give it away, because I was like, I only wear new shirts. That was like my thing. Like, I only wear new shirts. I don't wear fucking old shirts. I don't wash my shit. You know, like I'm saying? So, you know, I mean, I had some shit that I probably wash, you know,
right.
You know, keep it real, whatever. But, you know, that was like my thing. You know, I'm not going to front, like every fucking shirt I had was like brand new. But that was like one of my things. And also another one of my things was sneakers, man. I was a fucking sneakerhead, you know, so the Air Jordans had started coming out like probably like 85, 86. So, you know, by like, you're talking like 90, 91, there's like a fucking shitload of Air Jordans and a shitload, you know, everybody else jumped on the sneakers. So like, I literally had like hundreds and hundreds of pairs of fucking high tops.
Yeah, that sounds like Boziak. He had like a storage unit filled with 200-300 pairs of sneakers. It was just like he had a wall like in his room that was just sneakers. I was like, "Are you wearing all the sneakers?" He's like, "No, I never wear them.
I just had them. I just like to go buy them."
Yeah, he said.
I just like to spend the money, dude. To me, it was like just go and spend it. And I always had this thing like just spending cash, dude. I just love to spend cash, you know, because everybody else is like credit cards. Right. I just used to like, dude, like literally, and not like I'm spending over $10,000 or, because they still had that $10,000 thing back then. But, you know, I just used to love to go to like stores or go to the mall and just fucking drop like $5 or $6 grand. You know, and I would buy mostly myself, but sometimes it might be girls. I might bring some guys in my crew. I'd buy them shit too. And I would just go on these fucking whatever I had, a 5, 6, 7, 8. And I would just fucking drop that shit in the fucking mall in a day. But so I'm fucking, you know, went off on a tangent again, but you know, yeah. So, you know, I'm trying to get my money up because I was fucking spending reckless, like how I just described. And so I just had this fucking awesome idea. I'm like, fuck, because I knew it's going to be dry. I knew there's going to be no weed. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to fucking pump out as much fucking acid as I can in the summer of 91. And I'm going to make as much money as I can. So I got my money stacked for the fall so I can fucking make a killing. Because I know the falls is when I'm really going to make the killing. Every fall, that's when I made a lot of money. So all my friends are back from the colleges. So they don't have the whole college to sell to. It's just all my fucking high school friends from these two high schools, Robinson and Lake Braddock. And so, dude, so literally acid is going for like $5, $6 a hit. I flooded the areas with so much fucking acid. Like usually I would do like, 10,000 hits a month, but that's like all the colleges. Right. So now I'm going to get like 150 sheets. I'm going to get like 15,000, 20,000 hits. And I'm going to flood it all my people are in Fairfax County. You know, there's no colleges. So the price of acid that summer went from like $5-6 a hit down to like $1 to $2 a hit because I flooded it so much. You know, like, you know. I mean, looking back, I was a fucking dumbass, you know, cut my own throat, but whatever. You know, at the time, I thought I was fucking brilliant. I was like, yeah. So not only did I flood the area, but it was just, I mean, there's fucking acid. There's just, everybody's just tripping all fucking summer. And eventually, what happened is there was this kid, I mean, I never met the kid, but he was like a little 15-year-old kid. He was at this big field party in Clifton. You know, Clifton was like the kind of rich, real ritzy area in Fairfax County where they had like the $1 million houses and they would have like these big, you know, 5-6 acre lots. So the kids that lived there, when their parents, you know, just like when any parents would, you know, go on vacation, you know, they would throw parties, except they would throw like these big field parties, you know, and people would bring like stages for bands, or they might bring like fucking skateboard ramps and all types of shit. So it'd be like this fucking crazy fucking scene. And so there was this big party, but eventually, like all parties out in the suburbs, you know, eventually the cops are called. So this one kid was tripping balls on acid, and the cops came, and somehow he was running through the woods naked, and like a cop was chasing him, you know, and the cop like tackled him. And for some reason, this kid grabbed the cop's, you know, service revolver, and, you know, luckily only shot him in the arm.
Right.
You know, so, I mean, whatever, flesh wound, but, you know, I'm sure it was painful, whatever. I don't know if it hit the bone. I don't know all the exact details, but I know he shot him in the arm. And so once this happened, you know, and then that kid, like, you know, whatever, he said, yeah, he was blamed it on the acid.
Of course.
Told him where he got the acid from. And
which he could have been drunk and the same fucking thing would have happened. And who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I always say, look, if it's in you, it's in you.
Yeah,
the drug is not going to bring it out.
Right.
You know? Just like in prison, like you know, when they talk about dudes do homosexual shit, if it's in you, it was in you before, you know, in multiple ways it was in you.
I was just... Well, it's just when I'm in prison, bro. So,
so this happens, and actually, the dude that sold him the acid was actually, I knew him personally because at one time I had sold. He went to Lake Braddock. I had sold to him, you know, for probably like, you know, my first 2 years. Yeah. But by this time, like, there's like 7 people between me and him, because, you know, he was a cool dude, but he was like this metal dude. He actually ended up on my case, but you know, he was this metal dude, and I just thought, like, the way he sold drugs, he would just sell to anybody, you know. So I didn't, you know, so there was like 7 people separated, you know, between me and him, but it was still all my shit. So this kid said he got it from this guy. His name was Dave, the metal guy, and and they started an investigation, man, and really it was like, you know, and this is how law enforcement in this country reacts too. Like, if you do something to law enforcement, like if you shoot a cop or something, like they go hard, man. They don't fuck around. Like,
they take it seriously now.
Yeah, they're like, man, you know, like you touched one of ours. You know, they're like, I mean, they're like a gang, like any fucking gang of the mafia. You know, just like the criminals. You touch one of theirs, they're gonna go hard. The fucking cops go harder than everybody. So they basically had like a witch hunt that summer, man. It was like a LSD witch hunt. So
the dominoes start just pop, 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 pop.
Yeah, they were trying to find, like, where the fuck is this shit coming from? And also, like, everybody knew my name. Everybody knew Seth. Right, because you know, now Seth is more common because you got like Seth Rogen or, you know, Seth MacFarlane. So there's like some famous people named Seth. But back then, like, dude, like 91, like nobody was fucking named Seth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like my name stuck out. So everybody, you know, everybody's Seth, Seth. So they keep hearing Seth, Seth, Seth. They don't know my last name or anything, but everybody's hearing Seth. So because I was kind of like this, this infamous, you know, myth. You know, I don't know if you want to say legend or whatever. You know, I was just a dude that supplied all the fucking drugs to all these colleges. So, you know, a lot of people knew who I was.
I'm sure,
you know?
Colby will use legend in the clickbait title he'll come up with. It'll be legend.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people.
The
you
infamous legend.
Yeah,
Seth.
You know, there's underground. You know, underground legends. So,
yeah.
You know, I'm not a mainstream celebrity or nothing. You know, I've always been more notorious and infamous. So, they start hearing my name, and then they got this guy, Dave Crago, you know, so like during their investigation, so he ends up actually setting up another friend of mine, this guy named Chris, that was actually getting shit right from me. You know, he set him up in a deal with like a DEA, like a narc. And then it was like, that was like the state case. And then they pulled me into the state case, right? Like they tried to set up a deal, like the cop got a certain amount, like 10 sheets, but he wanted 20 more and he wouldn't give the money, until he got these other sheets. And like the dude, Dave, I mean, whatever. I mean, he was an informant, but I mean, he was basically a pussy dude. And then the other dude, Chris, I mean, he was like, a lot of the dudes, I mean, they're just like, I was always a dude, like, if there was a problem, like I was a dude that they would call.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because whatever, I not to say I'm not a tough guy, but I mean, I'll fight. I don't, whatever. I've
but these are all middle class, soft white kids.
Yeah.
Right?
So basically, like, it's not even my deal, but they call me to come handle it because the dude's Chris. He's like, man, I got this problem, whatever. So I fucking rolled down there with like a couple other dudes, and I don't even know. It's a fucking sting. It's like a sting that they set for Chris Miller. They didn't even set the sting for me, but fucking Chris fucking calls me, and I get drawn into the fucking sting. So boom, and then they're like, "Oh, we got fucking Seth."
Right.
Like who?
Yeah, they were trying to get to you.
But they had no idea. It was like a fluke thing, and like I say, still, I didn't give anybody any drugs, and I didn't take any money.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, because that's at the time though. I thought I was like, So look, so it's state. So I get arrested on state, and so they take me back to the station and fucking like the DE agents there, and they're like, oh, blah. I'm like, man, I don't got nothing to say to you, man. I'm like, man, fuck you. Talk to my lawyer. And they're like, well, your lawyer's gonna want to suck our dick. You don't know how much trouble you're in. Blah blah blah. We know everything's coming from you. Blah blah blah. And then another fucked up thing happened because I had this one kid was holding like 120 sheets for me. And so they found out about him through Chris. And so then they go right and they get that, right? And then I'm like, oh, fuck. So then they got all my fucking product too. So now, because before they had like 10 sheets.
All right.
It would have been a state. Then they go and seize, these guys give them the information. They go and get another 120 sheets. So now they got like 130 fucking sheets. So now they're fucking, it was like the biggest LSD bust in Fairfax County ever.
Right.
So, yeah, and so then it's state, whatever. I get my parents bail me out, and
the feds come in at that time.
Yeah, the feds. So this is like early July, and I hire.
People don't realize that. Like the state will grab you for something, and then sometimes they don't have enough to prosecute you, so they'll give it to the feds because the feds have even a lower bar as far as
conspiracy laws,
right?
Yeah.
And then even then you can sit there and think, oh, they don't have anything. They don't have me on tape. They don't have me on this. They don't have me on that. They don't have any product that I got. So they got nothing except
because that's what I was thinking.
But what ends up happening in the feds is doesn't matter.
It's just what people say.
Right. They'll put 4 people on the stand that say they bought from you, and you're done. It's over. Yeah. You're like, they got no money. They got no tapes. They got nothing on me. They happen to have 4 guys that say I did it. Boom. You're looking at 30 years. Yeah,
because I was thinking at that time because I was even like. I was like, boom, I didn't sell any cop anything.
Right.
I didn't take any money from any cop. I got hooked into the sting or whatever, and I got arrested, but I didn't sell anybody anything. And then even the other 120 sheets, it was mine, but it was at somebody else's house.
Right. You were watching too much Law and Order.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, I'm good. So I hire a state lawyer, whatever, paid him like 10 grand cash, drug money. And the stupid lawyer even asked me, his name was Michael Rieger. And he was like, I hope this is not drug money. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, dude, I'm fucking 20. I just gave you 10 grand cash, dude. Yeah. And you're like, I hope this isn't drug. And I was arrested for the biggest LSD bust in fucking Fairfax County.
No, that's my part-time. I've been saving that on my part-time job just to give to you.
Yeah. And I just came out, I'm like, boom, here, 10 grand, dude. Like I walked right into his office. It was in an envelope and he was like, it's just like so comical. These dudes like to save their ass, like the shit they'll say. I'm like, yeah, dude, where do you think it's from, man? Like I didn't even lie to the dude. I didn't even try to lie. I just looked at him like, come on, dude. Are you serious? So I got the state case. But like they're investigating the whole time. So like as soon as I get the state case, dude, it's like nobody wants to talk to me because the fucking DEA is going around talking to everybody. So it's like, until I got the federal case, it's about maybe like a month and a half, dude. And it was like crazy because like, I don't know who I can talk to. And like, also I had like a load of weed at this time. I'm trying to fucking move. I'm trying to get more money. Right. I didn't have that much, but I probably had about 40 pounds. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, fuck, dude. Cause like, it's like every other day. It's like, cause I could tell, like I'm calling people, some dudes owe me money. And like dudes are just like dodging me, like they don't want to talk to me. And because back then I knew anyhow, like when somebody gets busted, it's like they're hot.
Yeah.
So nobody wants to fuck with them. But see, so it was that, but at the same time, it was the investigation behind the scenes in the DEA. So I don't know who's giving information, who's not giving information. They're like going to the chicks, they're going to like people's girlfriends, they're going to like my girlfriends, they're going to fucking everybody. The feds don't fuck around, and they're going to all these little fucking rich kids. And they're threatening, like, give information on Seth or you're going to jail for 10 to life. So, like I say, I for a long time, I had a big thing when I was first locked up where I was like, oh, fuck snitches, all this. But, whatever. I mean, what did I expect them to do? It was my fault for putting those people in that position. That's how I look at it now.
Right.
But,
that's actually how I look at it. Actually, when I hit the halfway house, I actually called like 5 of my co-defendants that all cooperated against me and apologized for putting them in a position where they had to. I said, because the truth is I was smarter than that, and I knew better than to put you in that position. And, the idea that they were going to hold up was insane.
That's comical. They got the fucking mafioso killers. They don't even fucking hold it. Right. That whole thing. Like, I'm not saying I know some super thorough dudes that I was in prison with, and I know some super thorough dudes that, like, were in Pelican Bay and walk like level 4 yards, and like still to this day they're like fucking
snitches and fuck them guys, and they would never.
But I always tell them, I'm like, dude, if you're in the life, or you're in prison, and you want to hold those values and that attitude, cool. But dude, if you're like you're trying to live a normal life, and like. And there's still some of my buddies that are like, I can walk in the U.S. I'm like, okay, dude, whatever. Is that going to help you out here?
I was going to say, don't commit crimes, and then you get to do 30 years.
Yeah.
Fuck
no,
that.
I see like my whole mindset. Life is about change. Life is about evolving. So I see, I put people in bad positions, and whatever they did, what they were going to do anyhow. So, but so. I'm having like this month and a half thing where like then my lawyer, he's like, oh, it's going federal. So we got to hire a federal lawyer. So then I had to go get like $5 more grand and pay this federal lawyer $5 grand.
Only $5 grand?
At first.
Okay.
So just that was like just the retainer. So paid him cash. He didn't even ask me if it was drug money. He just took it.
Right.
He just took it. He was like just happy, I guess, to get it. So yeah, so then this fucking shit goes federal, right? And I'm just like, fuck, man. So then I got to go through the whole fucking arrest process, get bailed out, all that fucking shit again. And still at this time, I'm not really sure like what I'm really looking at, because I'm not like up on the mandatory minimums. You know what I'm saying? I'm not up on the federal sentencing guidelines.
You don't have any idea? Like, are you thinking 3 years, 5 years? What are you hearing? You're hearing
Yeah,
anything?
I'm thinking maybe 3 to 5 years. Even the fucking federal lawyer I hired, right? He's telling me, he's like, oh, you're a good kid from a good family. He's like still, he has that 80s mentality.
Right.
Like he's thinking like before they changed the laws in like 88 or whenever they went in effect, 88 or 89. So
89.
He's like, oh, maybe you might get like 8 to 10 years at the most. And so, but even I was like, man, fuck that. I was like, I'm not doing 8 to 10 years. And, so like I said, I basically, I had some product. I had money that I was trying to collect. I had the weed that I was selling, while all this shit is going on, even though I'm having to be careful who I'm selling it with, I'm trying to fuck with people that, the DEA doesn't know about or that they haven't talked to or whatever. Cause, I did fuck with a lot of different people. So, I'm getting my money up, and so then basically I come up with this plan, like my escape plan, because I'm like, because basically like my lawyers tell me they're like eventually once they start talking to prosecutors, they're like, you're looking at 20 to life. I'm like, 20 to life? I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, are you serious? 20 to life? I was like flabbergasted, and then they were like, whoa. You might get like, you could probably get like whatever, like 4 to 6 years, if you, bring some of your contacts here. Like they wanted me to bring some people from San Francisco, like some of my deadhead friends. They want me to bring them in on like big buys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they wanted me to set them up, and I was like, man, I don't know about that. So that was like how they presented my choices. They were like, oh, you can do 20 to life?
Yeah.
Or you fucking can bust these motherfuckers, cooperate.
Yeah.
And get less time.
Yeah.
And I was like...
Or you can go to trial, lose, and definitely get life.
Yeah, but I was even like... I was even fucked up like, you want me to cooperate and I'm still going to get time?
Yeah.
I was like, what are you fucking... Like, I mean, I thought when people cooperate, like they get off. Like they don't even go to prison. So they were like, no, it's not like that, whatever. So I formed this other plan. Right? I was like, man, because I was out on bail. I was like, man, I'm going to take the fuck off. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm going to fucking get the fuck out of here. Fuck these motherfuckers, right? And like I say, I had some money. So, I was always a big sports fan.
Right.
And, back then it was all newspapers. So, like, we would get the Washington Post every day. So when you get the Washington Post, and you go, like, I would go right to the sports section. But the section right before the sports section is the Metro section. And so I remember, like, over the last couple of years of my teenage years, I would see like headlines like in the Metro section, like, so-and-so, this person like commits suicide at, Great Falls, jumping into the Potomac River. So that kind of always stuck in my mind for some reason. So I was thinking, I was like, how can I just like disappear, make Seth Ferranti disappear? So there's like no Seth Ferranti, there's like no case. So I came up with this, I devised this plan. I'm like, I'm going to fake my suicide on the banks of the Potomac at Great Falls National Park. I'm going to make it seem like I jump in the river, and the area where I was going to jump in where everybody committed suicide, it's known as like Class 5 rapids, because the water is like crazy and there's rocks. So, they got like professional kayakers go there, but, only like the super most craziest professional ones. So I was like, man, I'm going to stage my suicide, in this area. I'm going to jump.
That's everybody's go-to move.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to jump in the fucking water. So, I came up with all this fucking big plan. And then too, because I had another problem, because, my parents had put their house up for the bail, right? So then I talked to the lawyers, right? So I told the lawyers, because I was like, I didn't bring it up, but I was like, I started pursuing the cooperation thing. I was like, well, what happens if I say I'm going to cooperate? They're like, well, you plead guilty, and then they're going to release you on a personal recognizance bond.
They released the lien against your parents' house, and it's no longer the collateral.
And I was like, once they said that, I already had this suicide plan, but I didn't have enough money to cover, because it was like, I think they put up $75,000 or something. So I didn't have enough money to cover that for my parents. So I didn't even want to fuck my parents, right? So then the lawyers, when I asked them about the cooperation and they told me about this, I was like, they said PR. I was like, PR bond? I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
Right.
And they were like, well, they're going to release you on your own recognizance. I'm like, all I got to do is like tell them I'm going to plead guilty and I'm going to cooperate.
All right.
And they were like, yeah. So I was like, okay. I was like, set it up. Right. So I fucking signed the paperwork. They fucking went to the courthouse, pled guilty. They fucking cut me loose. And then they told me like, I'm going to have to do these fucking debriefings.
Right.
Right. But I was already planned. I already had everything planned. Like I was fucking gone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I went. And like all this fucking transpired, like from the time I signed the paperwork till when I fled. I mean, it was only fucking like a couple days, right? And so I took the fuck off, right? I faked my suicide. I took off. I got rid of the rest of the weed I had, and I took off to California. And like for real, dude, like I thought, I mean, because I was like on a 9-month high, like where I was on top of the world, and then like everything fucking crashed. So then I was like fucked up. And then like I came up with this plan and I executed it. And then I was like on top of the world. I was like, man, I'm that fucking dude. Like, fuck these motherfuckers, right? Like, I felt like I got my fucking swagger back or whatever. Cause like when I got busted and all that shit, like, dude, my fucking moxie, my swag was just like gone. I was like at the lowest point.
But you'd also thought that you pulled off the faking the suicide, right? Because wasn't there something in the newspaper or something about you committing suicide? And yeah, like, so you thought it was a lock.
Yeah,
right?
So I go to LA, I fly to LA, and I'm staying on Point Magoo military base. So I know this girl, her dad's like the XO. this girl named Nancy. So she was like an old girlfriend. So I went out there and staying on the base. And, Point Magoo's a little bit up from L.A., but I was having her drive me down to L.A. every day because, back then they had like the big newsstands, like on every corner with like all the newspapers from different places and all the magazines. You don't see that as much today, sometimes in the big cities, but not really with all the newspapers from the different cities. So I was going to get the Washington Post. Like every couple of days I would go to the Washington Post. So the first time I went and I saw it said, Fairfax LSD kingpin commits suicide. And I fucking saw it. I was like, fuck yeah, I got these motherfuckers. Because I was thinking like, boom, now 7 years, like Seth Ferranti, my parents can have me declared legally dead in 7 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And no bodies found or whatever. They don't know what the fuck is up. And my body, I figured my body was going to float out to the fucking Atlantic Ocean, So I keep going back and I'm fucking like, I'm on top of the world again. I'm like, yeah, I'm the fucking smartest motherfucking outlaw. I can outsmart the fucking feds. These motherfuckers can't fuck with me. And I'm like 22, so I'm like fucking, when you're 20, it's all like that false bravado.
You think you're living in a movie or something.
Yeah, dude, like I was. I was like, Catch Me If You Can wasn't even out then, but I thought I was Catch Me If You Can, But I just didn't know the name of the title of the movie. But I thought I was that dude. So I keep going down and I'm reading the papers because a couple of my co-defendants are going to trial. Everybody else pleads guilty. Out of everybody, like 2 dudes ended up going to trial. Everybody else, like 6 other dudes, ended up pleading guilty. So I'm reading all this in the papers, and then it was like probably like 2 weeks after, I go back down, and like I'm still on my fucking high, dude, and I get the fucking paper and I open up to the Metro section, dude, and I was just fucking crushed because it said. It was like fucking prosecutors declare Fairfax County LSD kingpin suicide a hoax. And I saw the headline. I was like, what? Like all my planning, everything, dude. I was like, what the fuck?
I'm not dead.
So I start reading the article, right? And it's like they said the U.S. park rangers, dragged the river for 2 weeks and they didn't find a body. And I was like reading it more. And then like it went on to say like, where, I allegedly went in, there's like a dam like after that. So, I mean, I was like, fuck,
it wouldn't have been washed out to sea. It would have been stuck in this one area and they would have found the body.
Dude, I like seriously fucked up, man. I fucking staged my
weeks,
suicide.
It was a good 2 weeks.
Yeah. So I staged the suicide on the wrong side of the dam. So that's, I
had a dime.
So look, I thought it was smart as fuck. And I mean, really, in a way you think, I did. I was real innovative and I came up with this fucking crazy idea and I almost pulled it off. Just that one little fucking detail, man.
Next time,
So that's how, so that's how that whole shit transpired. So then they made me, for some ungodly reason, these fucking, and I know why now. I learned later. At the time, I had no fucking clue. So I learned later because when I was in prison, I did all these Freedom of Information Acts, on all my case and everything.
Yeah.
Because I was a megalomaniac researcher like that. So you might know about stuff like that.
Me too.
So what I pieced together after the fact. So what happened was there was this dude named Henry Hudson. He was like the assistant prosecutor, like not assistant he was assistant U.S. attorney.
Yeah.
Named Henry Hudson, like on my case at the time in the Eastern District of Virginia. So all of a sudden, right after my case, this dude transfers to the Eastern District U.S. Marshal's office, and he's the head of the U.S. Marshal's office. And so, I guess he felt like I put a black mark on his record, or like I made them look bad, or I outsmarted them.
Was he was your AUSA? He was your.
He wasn't the prosecutor on my case. My prosecutor on my case was this chick named Christine Wright. He was like the assistant U.S. attorney.
Oh, okay.
So he was the second highest dude in the office.
Never mind.
Yeah, so
she was underneath him, and your case was underneath his caseload.
So this dude, he goes from second in charge of the U.S. Attorney's Office to number one guy in the U.S. Marshals in the Eastern District of Virginia. And this dude makes me a top 15 U.S. Marshals list, I guess out of revenge factor, or he's pissed off, or I'm the black mark on his record and he has higher aspirations.
Right.
You know, so, yeah, so I mean, I had no clue. So for 2 years, like I'm prancing around the fucking U.S. Like eventually I started selling weed and not LSD, but I started running weed from Dallas, Texas up to St. Louis. And I'm just like carrying on, you know, war on drugs. I'm still a drug dealer. Like, you know, really in retrospect, when I look at it, I was really, really, really stupid. I mean, I'm trying to fucking be the biggest drug dealer I can as a fugitive at the height of the war on drugs. So,
yeah.
you know, but I mean, retrospect, age, you get some clarity. So, you know, at the time, you know, I got blinders on, whatever. I thought I was a cool guy. So, so this dude, so I'm actually U.S. Marshals fucking top 15 most wanted for fucking the whole 2 years I'm a fugitive. And like, I have no fucking clue. Because even when I was a fugitive, like I would watch all the shows. I watched like America's Most Wanted. Like I'm doing research, dude. I'm like a researcher. That's what I do. You know, like when I do something, like I research it, right? So I'm watching America's Most Wanted. I'm watching fucking like Unsolved Mysteries. I'm watching all that shit because I'm figuring out like, how do they catch these motherfuckers? And so a lot of times, like I'm seeing shit like the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez. It's taken like 3 months to match up his prints.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm like, fuck, dude, like I'm low profile. I don't have any murders. I never even beat nobody up. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's going to take them forever to match up my prints because I'm, you know, I feel like I'm not a high priority. But, you know, lo and behold, I had no fucking idea that I'm fucking a federal U.S. Marshals top 15 most wanted fucking fugitive. So, and like I say, this dude, Henry Hudson, he did the paperwork, you know, because later on when I got caught, you know, one of the U.S. Marshals told me, like, he's looking at my jacket, you know, and he's looking at me, and I look like, when I got caught, I looked like a little college kid, and he's like, who did you piss off?
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's like anybody else on the top 15 most wanted list is like violent, has guns, murders, whatever.
Yeah, they're dangerous fugitives, and you're selling a product you can't even OD on.
I'm selling fucking hippie drugs.
Right.
So whatever. So, you know, but I came to find out this all later. So, you know, but that whole time really when I'm a fugitive, I was selling weed. I was running weed. Eventually, like in LA, my money ran out, and that girl got sick of me living in her parents' house. So, you know, I had to fucking roll out. So, you know, her parents didn't know I was a fugitive, but she knew. So after about 6 months, she was kind of like, dude, you got to like.
The novelty's worn off.
Yeah. She was like, yeah, it was cool seeing you again and having some sex and shit, but now you got to bounce, motherfucker, because this relationship's not lasting. There's no future. You're a fucking fugitive fucking drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? At the height of the war on drugs, she's like, she saw no future. Like, what, you going to have my kids when I go to prison? I don't know. But, yeah, she told me kick rocks. I go to Dallas, Texas. I hook up with Mexican Eddie.
Right.
You know, my fucking brick pot dealer.
You got fake IDs and
stuff.
I
got tons of fake IDs.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a whole nother story. That'll take another half hour to tell about the fake IDs. But I got a whole fucking bunch of fake IDs that I got through researching through books. I learned how to do it. And I meet some guys, and they're from St. Louis, you know, and I'm selling drugs, you know, weed in Texas at Harrigan's restaurants, these other restaurants. And one of the guys one time, he goes to St. Louis, so I'm like, can you sell some weed? And so I go up, I take 20 pounds, and like over that next year to 18 months, I have like my second little fucking marijuana empire. And then eventually I get arrested for like a quarter pound of weed with the same guy who took me up there, but it was in his truck, so he claims it. He actually was selling weed for me, but it was my weed.
You guys got pulled over or something?
No, we were in the back of a Burger King parking lot.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the Burger King parking lot had just got robbed like 2 weeks before. I just dropped off like 3 pounds. We were just waiting for the money and smoking a joint.
Cops pull up.
Dumb luck. And I didn't even know he had the quarter pound in the truck. But, you know, he did the right thing. He claimed it. He said it was his. But they still arrested me and took me in and matched my prints, you know, released me. Then I came back and bailed him out, got his car out of the impound, you know, and got my money for the 3 pounds. And yeah, but then in 3 days they match up my fucking print. So then the fucking Midwest fucking fugitive task force is looking for me. They go to his house first because they got his real name. He starts driving them around St. Louis to all the people I fucking sell weed to. And then eventually they found some dude that I just fucking loaded up threatened to give him 10 years to life, and he brought him right to my hotel. Boom. Extradited back to Virginia. Sentenced to 25 years, 304 months.
You just pled guilty to 25 years?
I'd already pled. I pled before I left.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I pled because I pled to the 20 to life and told him I would cooperate.
Because you were never going to be there for the sentencing.
Because I was going to be dead.
Right. Okay.
But I wasn't dead. My whole plan backfired. So then when I came, they held me to that plea, and obviously they didn't give me any credit for any cooperation. And they enhanced me 5 years for 60 months for taking off, obstruction of justice and failure to appear.
Right. So 25 years.
Yeah.
Did you do a 2255? Did you do anything?
I did everything, man.
Oh, okay. You went through the whole process of trying to.
Lost everything.
Yeah.
Back then in the 90s, you couldn't get any play for anything. Only if you went to trial, you could have went to play. So I would say that to any of your listeners. Really, I mean, you got two choices when you get busted, man. Either fucking cooperate fucking fully and fucking get as little time as you can. If you're not going to do that, go to trial, man. That's the only way you're going to retain your rights. So, like I was saying, don't try to do anything halfway. Don't try to outsmart the motherfuckers like I did. You're just going to get fucked.
Yeah. 25 years, bro. What the fuck? And then I heard on the other podcast where you're talking about you were talking about being in the different prisons and the whole thing, and you mentioned Coleman and Whitey Bulger.
Yeah.
I was in the medium there.
Yeah.
At Coleman.
I used to write Whitey Bulger.
Yeah. You told me that.
Dude, he has the most awful handwriting.
Yeah.
Fucking, you can barely read his writing, dude. It's like
he was also like 100. That was like 70
you gotta have
something.
like a fucking magnifying glass, dude. I sent him the Rolling Stone article about my case. It came out in '97 when I was in FCI Beckley, and he wrote me a whole fucking letter on the my Rolling Stone article. Like, I still got that. I don't know. I think I might put it up on eBay one day.
I was gonna say any letters from him would be worth something.
Let's see if somebody give me I'll start the bidding at 10,000.
All right, so we're going to do another podcast about what you're doing now, because when you went to prison, you started writing, and that's although the true crime story is cool, to me, I mean, that's like you're at a spot now in your career where I'd love to be in a few years from now.
Yeah. No, the whole prison. I mean, it was a lot of time I had to do, but whatever. I got 3 college degrees. I got a master's degree. I started writing books, and every day in prison, my thing was, what can I do today for when I get out? So, I mean, everything I've done, it was all planned, dude. I mean, I'm very methodical.
Yeah.
You know how I do stuff. I do everything one step at a time. I research. I'm not trying to jump from 1 to 10. I don't mind taking the steps. I'm very methodical. So prison, even though I had to do 21 years, I was very methodical in that 21 years. And I did everything that I needed to do to put me in the position where I am now.
Right. Hey, if you like the video, do me a favor and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Also, we're going to have any links that link to Seth's story or to anything that Seth wants me to put in the description will be in the description. There'll be a bunch of links in there, hopefully. And that's it. And I appreciate it. See ya.